Hi, this is Eric Metcalf, and you're watching the Unhappy Hour.
Broadcasting to you live from the Milky Way galaxy, the solar system, planet Earth, North America, the United States of America, California, Los Angeles, to be specific. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of The Unhappy Hour on the TNAM network. My name is Brian Engelman. I am your host, as I have been for the past 7 years. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being a part of what we are witnessing here in Cleveland. Tonight, the Cleveland Cavaliers played Game 6. It was a must-win. It's an overused term that often applies to games that are not literally must-win games. However, tonight, this was a must-win game, and the Cavaliers did win the game 109-99. LeBron James put in 46 points in 46 minutes, once again proving he is the GOAT. He's done this for 15 years. He's not slagging. He's not sliding. If anything, he's peaking. I was concerned that Miami got peak LeBron, and we got Jenny coming back home at the end of Forrest Gump. Turns out we got a championship out of it, and we've got 3 straight NBA Finals appearances to show for it. And who knows, we got a Game 7, perhaps a 4th in a row. Time will tell. This Boston Celtics team is very well coached, very fundamentally sound, very talented, very athletic, very capable of knocking down big-time shots. And they've done it this entire series. I don't know what else to say other than this is the team that had the best regular season record for a reason. Well, I guess Toronto. The Boston Celtics are no joke. Let me just rearrange this and let me reset this. The Boston Celtics are not a joke. The Boston Celtics are the real deal. And the Cleveland Cavaliers have now taken them to Game 7. Yes, I know. The Cavaliers had a chance to take the Indiana Pacers to Game 7, eventually winning that one. Cavaliers clearly being the more talented team at the time. But it doesn't matter if you're more talented. It matters if you're putting the results on the floor. In the Cavaliers, let's face it, Kyle Korver loses his brother. Tristan Thompson is up to all the shenanigans outside of the world, and he's not really thinking about basketball. LeBron James plays all 82 games, but it's without his Robin. Kyrie Irving asked to be traded. He was traded by a rookie general manager in Kobe Altman. If I were general manager, yes, I know, and I'm not claiming that I would have done this the right way, but I would have told Kyrie politely to pound sand. I would have told Kyrie Irving, look, man, you got 2 years left on your deal. Give us 1 year. Let's ride the difference. We got you a freaking championship in 2016, and you hit perhaps the most clutch shot in NBA history. Ride this out with us for 1 year. If LeBron James leaves, then this is your team to take over. If LeBron James stays, then we will trade you at your peak for full value, and we'll try to get you onto a contender. I wouldn't have traded Kyrie. In essence, Kyrie would still be on this team. And could you imagine how much easier it would be if LeBron James had a player that was a 1B to his 1A, if it was his Robin to his Batman? Kevin Love is a very good player. However, Kevin Love once again got knocked out tonight. I can't blame this on Kevin Love, and please don't misinterpret what I'm saying here. I'm not saying that Kevin Love is soft. I'm not saying that Kevin Love is weak. I'm not saying Kevin Love is less than, especially because he spoke out about mental health issues. I have a psychology degree myself. I studied this stuff, and I think it's one of the most I think it's one of the strongest things you can do as a human being, to admit that you're going through something pretty tough, something pretty terrible, something pretty difficult. And so what Kevin Love has done is brought light to an issue that I think millions of people can relate to. Raise your hand if you haven't had any adversity that you've been facing over the past 2 years. I'll wait. Let's see those hands raised really tall. Because most people are going through something. Most people have stuff that they're working out. Now, Kevin Love tonight got knocked out of the game, evaluated for concussion after colliding with Jason Tatum. In the 2016 finals, Love had a concussion, and then he had another one in March. If he's placed in the concussion protocol, he might miss Sunday's game. Jeff Green stepped up, gave you 14 points, and a couple of very important defensive plays, filling in at center. George Hill did well. But really quick, I've done a lot of these shows. And it's very easy to talk about the Kevin Loves and the George Hills and the Tristan Thompsons and the and the Jeff Greens. It's very easy to talk about these players. But what might not be easy to talk about, and it's so funny because it might not be easy to talk about because it is so easy, is LeBron James. Most 40-point elimination games in the history of the NBA. This is a game where it's win or die, win or go home, literally backs up against the wall, a must-win game. Not a theoretical must-win game. I mean a literal must-win game. In elimination games, who's had the most 40-point games? Is it Russell Westbrook? Is it Kobe Bryant? Is it Michael Jordan? Is it Larry Bird? Hakeem Olajuwon? Charles Barkley? Steph Curry? Kevin Durant? Name all your best players in NBA history. Is it Magic Johnson? In elimination games, when it counts the most, when you're looking to a GOAT, the greatest of all time, if you're looking at a GOAT, who are the players that you would count on? Is it Bill Russell? Wilt Chamberlain? Go back throughout the entire history of basketball. In elimination games, who's had the most 40-point games? I'll just walk you through a few. Number 5, Elgin Baylor had 3. Russell Westbrook had 3. Hakeem Olajuwon also had 3. Wilt Chamberlain had 5, and I'll give you one guess. Who has had 7? In elimination games, 40-point games. A guy that normally doesn't take all that much pride in scoring. Although, obviously he does. But he's more about making the right play, the smart play, the defensive play, the assist, the steal, the rebound, the basketball smart play. LeBron James has had the most 40-point elimination games of all time with 7. LeBron James in his 15th NBA season has proven that he is the greatest of all time. And I know, Game 7's coming up. What if something were to happen and he wasn't able to pull out a victory? Is that going to tarnish his legacy? Honestly, if you're just going to sit there and hate on LeBron James for what he's brought to the table, I don't know what to tell you at this point. He's done it for a decade and a half at a top-notch level. And he keeps doing it. It's time to respect the greatness. One of our administrators on the Unhappy Hour, so it's a Facebook group, it's a private group, you can join it. The Unhappy Hour Sports Show, a support group. Carl Fern is one of our many administrators, one of our great admins, and he said, oh man, I'd have to pull up the tweet exactly or the Facebook post exactly, but he said something about the game, and I said we're watching greatness. And anyway, his reply was along the lines of, this is what my grandfather used to tell me about when watching Jim Brown. You're watching a once-in-a-generation type player, and you better enjoy it. Guys, you better enjoy this. This is peak LeBron at LeBron peak power. He's played in all 82 games this year for the first time in his 15-year career. A lot of players are breaking down after 7, 8, 9, 10 years. LeBron's done it for a decade and a half. And I think it's something that needs to be talked about. LeBron had to battle what he was feeling when Larry Nance fell on his leg. And the way he was holding his leg and the way he went down, I was a little worried that he was going to be a goner. So, what you have in LeBron is a very durable, very well-rounded, amazing basketball player, unlike anything anybody's ever seen before. The statistics speak for themselves. Every single series, LeBron is changing what it means to be an NBA player. LeBron is changing what it means to set the record books for a new generation. LeBron is doing stuff nobody has ever done before. Enough with the comparisons to other players. This guy is the GOAT. Now, obviously, if he's able to somehow get past the Celtics, if he's somehow able to get past either the Rockets or the Warriors and win another championship, it's going to be a feather in his cap, and it's going to be something impressive for all of us to be excited about. You can love or you can dislike LeBron's personal politics, but you can appreciate all of the great stuff he's done for inner city youth in Akron, Ohio. All the kids that he's taken to college, all of the stuff that he's done, his lack of ridiculous scandals outside of the court. That's something Kobe can't say. That's something Magic can't say. That's something Jordan can't say. Every one of them have a whole bunch of garbage hanging around their necks. LeBron James has some rumors, but the fact of the matter is this guy's pretty much kept his nose clean and kept out of trouble for a decade and a half. The chosen one, the self-appointed king. It's impressive. I don't know what else to tell you. Real quick, I want to get to some of these comments here, but if you're not subscribed to us yet, it's youtube.com/TheNewAmericanMedia. Click subscribe. We have 7 years of this stuff. And patreon.com/TheNewAmericanMedia. You can fund us if you like what we're doing. I want to get to Damien's questions. Damien has a few questions. Any update on Love? No, I don't have an update on Love. What I can do right now is I'm going to do a quick search. I'm going to see what we're finding here. Still being evaluated for a concussion. All right, he was out for the remainder of the game. He experienced a hit to the head, continuing to be evaluated per precaution. Kevin Love absolutely leads the league in fouls committed while trying to get out of somebody's way. How do Celtics players always manage to hurt Kevin Love? Obviously, if Kevin Love is diagnosed with a concussion, that will be a huge loss for the Cavs. He's an all-star who's played in a lot of high-stakes playoff games. Yeah, Jason Tatum stayed in the game after he cracked skulls, but he sure has been quiet since. Maybe he's feeling the effects too. What's up, Brian Burke? If you have any questions or comments, tell me what you thought about the game below. I'm going to try to get to all of them. Yeah, Kevin Love got smacked. Why am I getting stuff from so long ago? I need the update here. There've got to be people giving me an update on Kevin Love's situation. Well, thanks, Twitter. I'm so happy to be getting stuff from 4 hours ago. You mean everybody went to sleep? You know, and people just making fun of Kevin Love and looking here on Twitter, like, I don't know, it's pretty weak. But they really did crack skulls intensely. Alright, I don't know what else to tell you. I'm looking it up here, trying to get an update. Twitter's not giving me much of anything. The only stuff I'm getting is from 4 hours ago. So no, I'm sorry, I don't have any update on Love. They can't win on the road. Yes, they can. The Cavaliers won Game 7 against the 73-win Golden State Warriors on the road. Of course we can win at home. We're bringing back Tristan Thompson. We're bringing back Kevin Love, fingers crossed. We're bringing back J.R. Smith. We're bringing back the GOAT, the greatest of all time, LeBron James. Of course we can win on the road. No, we haven't beaten the Celtics on the road yet. But we absolutely can. Of course we can. I'm not sweating that. We can win on the road. Kyrie would have been out because of his knee. Yes, would he? Or maybe if he was on the Cavs, he wouldn't have been in the position to injure his knee in the first place, Damian. So that's the question you have with Kyrie Irving. Well, if he would have done this and he would have done... Well, if my aunt had a different set of genitalia, she'd be my uncle. I know, I'm conflicted on Kyrie. Like I said, I wouldn't have traded him. But then, look, could the Cavs have won tonight without Larry Nance Jr.? How would we have done without Jordan Clarkson? Could the Cavs have actually won this thing? I don't know, maybe. Yes, no? Other than LeBron James, Jordan Clarkson was a plus 11. 5 total rebounds, 3 on the offensive side. 6 points. Yeah, 3 of 9 shooting, and only in 14 minutes. We had the highest plus minus, other than LeBron with 15. What about Larry Nance Jr.? 10 points, 7 rebounds, 1 assist, 2 steals. He played 22 minutes. Remember, Kevin Love. Are they serious? He played 5 minutes? Jeff Green, Kyle Korver, they all had to step up. What are my thoughts on Jordan Clarkson? I think Jordan Clarkson needs to be used as a slasher. They need to plan plays. If you're going to bring Jordan Clarkson in, you need to play him for 5 to 7 minutes at a time. You need to play specifically for Jordan Clarkson while he's in the game. I think you should give LeBron some plays off where they can set the screens and allow Jordan to penetrate, to dribble, and bring in Tristan or Larry Nance from the side to make sure that they can clean up the garbage if it hits the rim and bounces off. I think you need to be smart with LeBron's minutes. People like Jordan Clarkson are going to collapse the defense and allow people like J.R. Smith and Kyle Korver to be wide open from three-point range. You have to use the players that you have. Those are my thoughts on Jordan Clarkson. Damien is asking, by the way, if you're watching on this camera, I'm reading our Facebook comments. The Unhappy Hour Sports Show, a support group. It's a private group, mainly for Indians, Cavs, Browns, and Buckeye fans. So I'm talking to the people in this group about the Cavaliers game tonight. Damien is asking, what are my thoughts on Bron Pablo? and I assume with Bron Pablo, you're talking about that parody. What was that? Was that Bleacher Report? It wasn't. I think it was Bleacher Report. I think. My thoughts on Bron Pablo. Let me just give you my thoughts on LeBron James. LeBron James just had the highest scoring effort, I believe, with any of his elimination games ever. He had 3 or 4 games with 45 points, and now he just put in 46. 46 points in 46 minutes. He could have even had more, of course. I mean, this guy could be putting in 70 points a game if he wanted to. Nobody can stop him. But he wants to get his teammates involved. He plays a different game. Bron Pablo. All right, the skit was funny, and I want to watch it again now. You linked it, Damien. Thank you. Let me like that comment. I can't watch it right now, but anyway, you're referring to the Celtics. Oh, because the Celtics can't win on the road. Okay, I get what you're saying. All right, so the Boston Celtics can't win on the road. Doesn't matter. 1 game. You got 1 game right now. 1 game to make this work. And guess what? It's at home. So you don't need to worry about how you're going to play on the road. That's what winning at home does. By the way, how about Al Horford, 6 points? Epic, right? Tatum cracked his skull, only put in 15. Rozier had 28 and Brown had 27. Not a whole lot of other stuff. 10 from Marcus Smart, 10 from Marcus Morris, and a whole lot of nothing else. I mean, the Cavs had Green put in 14, and Nance had 10. Clarkson 6. Korver had 6. That's all he had. Yeah, and I was starting to allude to the fact that the Boston Celtics had the best regular season record in the Eastern Conference. However, that's not accurate. That belongs to the Toronto Raptors, obviously, who had 4 games up on the Boston Celtics. That same Raptors team that the Cavaliers beat 4-0. Obviously, some last-second plays, but we swept them nonetheless. Celtics were 4 games back, and the Cavaliers were 9 games back as the 4 seed. I just wanted to make sure I clarified that. Yes. Hello, Adam Reese. Damian saying we will win Sunday. Yeah, we will. I mean, you really think the NBA is going to sell tickets with Marcus Morris in the finals? I mean, is that really what you think is going to happen? You think some of these calls are not going to start going the Cavs' way for once? I mean, a lot of bad plays. You think Aaron Baines is going to get you Coca-Cola sponsorship dollars to watch that? People don't care about that. People want to see the GOAT. And the GOAT's going to earn it. The Cavs are going to win. Cleveland just dominated the second quarter. And that's what really led to this game turning out the way that it did. Damn near doubled him. No, Baines did not score. You're right, Damian. Baines played 19 minutes. No points. 3 rebounds, 2 assists, -11 while he was on the floor. Kudos, man bun. By the way, my boy Izzy was saying that, well, we were having a conversation at the table, rather. I was with my cousin, I was with Izzy. We were talking about the man bun and whether Vikings invented the man bun or not. So if you know where the man bun was invented, because it seems like the Boston Celtics clearly lead the NBA in man buns year to year. I'd be curious where the first documented case of man bun came from and where that's been consistently where that's been a consistent fashion trend to rock the man bun. But yeah, Baines gave you 0. Damien in the chat room saying, what are your thoughts on rumors about Mark Jackson replacing Lou? Your thoughts about my thoughts about Mark Jackson replacing Lou? I mean, obviously we're talking about next year, right? We're talking about next year, right? Playoffs? Talking about practice. Playoffs? I just hope we can win a game. I mean, what am I supposed to think about Mark Jackson? What am I supposed to think about Tyronn Lue? Tyronn Lue has look, just I know it's easy to hate on Tyronn Lue. I know it's easy to look at what, I don't know, Eric Spoelstra or Brad Stevens, the way they carry themselves, the way they comport themselves, the way that they handle themselves, the way that they get praise in the media. I get that. Tyronn Lue had his second star player, because there were 3 star players on this team. Kevin Love, Kyrie Irving, and LeBron James in that order of... Kyrie said he didn't want to play on this team anymore, and we did the best that we could. We got Isaiah Thomas. Isaiah Thomas mixed with Dwayne Wade, mixed with Derrick Rose, mixed with... Go through the rest of it, they were cancers on the team. They were cancers in the locker room. They were a problem. So the GM switched the team up, got rid of Robin to LeBron James Batman, gave you an injured Isaiah Thomas and a draft pick and a couple of role players. The role players sucked. Jay Crowder and Zizic, he doesn't even get any minutes. When Isaiah Thomas does come back, he's a shell of his former self. He's selfish, and he's causing problems in the locker room. So what do? We off him. We off Shumpert, we off him, we off Derrick Rose, we off Dwayne Wade. And this was kind of what LeBron James, the general manager, put together, don't forget. It didn't work. And for whatever reason, at one point, this was the best team LeBron's ever played on. 2 weeks later, this is the worst team LeBron James has ever played on, and he should leave Cleveland for it. Seriously, shut your mouths. Shut your mouths. I understand that you need to have a hot take when it comes to sports. I understand that you need to be bold and make some predictions, but what you're talking about here is LeBron James played general manager, put all of his buddies on the same team, and it didn't work. They then blew it up. We got Jordan Clarkson. What would we have done tonight? And I thought this watching the game. What the heck would we have done without the 7 rebounds, the assists, the 2 steals, 10 points from Larry Nance Jr.? I don't know who else we had on that roster that could have stepped in the way Larry Nance Jr. did. I think he deserves some more minutes, whatever that means. I think there's a good chemistry there. And I think it's demoralizing when people like Tristan Thompson, who really tonight only had 4 rebounds. LeBron had 11. Go figure. Once again, 1 assist shy of a 46-point, 11 rebound, 9 assist triple-double. I think Larry Nance Jr. really stepped in and kind of saved the game for us there. Yeah, Nance and Tristan. Remember how well we did with Timofey Mozgov when we had Mozgov and Tristan and Love and when different combinations? There's something that happens when you're banging the other team down low. They can't even get their own rebounds they're supposed to get. It does something absolutely demoralizing to the other team. When you play good defense for 21 seconds, they jack up a shot, clanks off the rim. What does that lead to? Leads to a tip back for another fresh 24-second clock. That's demoralizing. When that leads to a tip in for 2 points, that's demoralizing. When the missed shot rolls around the rim, it's grabbed and dunked, that is demoralizing. When the rebound is grabbed off the rim, kicked out to someone to make a 3-pointer, that's demoralizing. When the ball that's shot is grabbed by someone like Larry Nance or Tristan Thompson, and that ball is kicked back out to someone who takes a shot, misses it, they grab another rebound, kick it back out, and then that 2-point shot is made. There's a cumulative effect that starts to happen on a team when you are thoroughly owning them, when you are demoralizing them, when you're humiliating them, when you're wearing them out, when you're sapping their energy, when you're sucking their life force dry. Brian Burke in the chat room, he's saying, I agree with you on Nance. He played tough. Yes, he did play tough. Damian saying he liked the combo of Nance and Tristan Thompson. How could you not? What did Dan Gilbert's kid say? What's not to like? Now look, I was to shift gears real quick. I was at the Cleveland Browns game when Tim Couch got hurt and Kelly Holcomb came in, and I remember cheering when Tim Couch was on the field and he was hurt, and I could see Kelly Holcomb warming up, getting his helmet on, and coming on the field. I was really cheering. I was excited, and the guy in front of me turned around and said, "Hey, show some respect. He's injured on the field." And I said, "Look, man, I'm not cheering his injury. I just believe in what the backup can do." And a lot of people at that point believed in Kelly Holcomb a little bit more than they believed in Tim Couch. Now, I'm not saying that I believe in Larry Nance Jr. or Tristan Thompson more than I believe in Kevin Love. I'm not going to say that. That's ridiculous. You got a multiple-time All-Star. You got the dude has won an NBA championship. If he doesn't play defense on Steph Curry, who knows how that game turns out in 2016? Kevin Love is a badass. He's easy to rip on. He's a kind of clunky, kind of derpy, kind of soft white guy in the NBA. The script writes itself. But don't for 1 second think that I'm saying because I like the way Larry Nance and Tristan Thompson played that I think they're better off without Kevin Love. I think that would be foolish to say, and I think for the fans across Cleveland and the fans across this country that are rooting for the Cavaliers, don't get caught up in that. Be grateful that we have the depth that we do. Because Larry Nance Jr. is a star in the making. I don't know if you've seen enough from him or not, but I've seen enough. If this guy had regular minutes and he had a regular rotation, they had regular plays drawn up for him, he's a 2010 guy. Easy. 2, 3, 4, 5 blocks a game. Definitely 20 points. Definitely 10 rebounds. No, who knows? I could be wrong. His lifetime stats might not bear that out, but I see that potential in him. Right or wrong, I see the potential in him. And Damien in the chat room is saying that Nance is more active than it seems. He's pretty active. Nance isn't going to give you... Nance isn't going to peel off of a screen, catch and pop a three-pointer, though. So, once again, let's not get it twisted here just because we like Larry Nance. They're different players. They're different games. There's different skill sets they're going to bring to the table. What's up, Brian, in the chat room? If you have any questions. Brian Neftzger. Did I pronounce that right? Neftzger? Brian Burke in the chat room saying we need Kevin Love to win a championship, no doubt. I would agree with that, except let's face the facts. Kevin Love might not be available in Game 7. If Kevin Love is not available, I have to basically disagree with what you said, Brian Burke. I like what you said, that we need Kevin Love to win a championship. What if he can't play? Remember, LeBron took the Warriors to 6 games without Kevin Love, without Kyrie Irving. The Warriors and Rockets have shown us that they're both vulnerable. They're both battling injuries. Draymond Green is mentally. He ain't strong. He's a clown. Durant is weak. He knows it. Oh, he's a badass. He's got plenty of skill, but he's weak. Steph Curry, he vacillates between being the most pompous, arrogant, I can do nothing wrong player in the NBA to the most excused player. Oh, well, he's clearly not healthy. Oh, well, he clearly came back too soon. Oh, well, this and that and that. Will you cut me some slack? Will you give me a break here? If Steph Curry's not giving you the results, he's a bum. Just be consistent with the way you treat LeBron, the greatest of all time. If you're going to treat LeBron that way, might as well treat Steph Curry that way. The Warriors are very beatable. They trail 2-3 now against the Houston Rockets. James Harden and the Rockets were able to pull off one. Yes, Chris Paul, CP3, did get injured with his hamstring on the last couple of possessions, right at the end of the game. It's unfortunate, and in a way, it feels like how many more lucky breaks could the Golden State Warriors possibly get? With the injuries to people like Kevin Love and Kyrie Irving back in 2015, to getting Kevin Durant, the second or third or fourth or fifth best player in the NBA, to sign on your team, the 73-win, vaunted, best ever regular season team, Golden State Warriors. I mean, Klay Thompson's good. Is he great? He's good. Draymond Green, he's a hothead. He's almost as much of a liability as he is an asset. And if you don't know that, I don't think you're paying attention. Draymond Green is a train wreck. Coincidentally, the name of the movie LeBron James is in. The Cavs have a Game 7 against the Boston Celtics. The Boston Celtics are well coached. They're talented. They're sticking to their scheme. They bring a lot to the table. Do I think that they are better than the Cleveland Cavaliers? I do not. I haven't thought that all season. And you can talk about the regular season record. You can talk about the regular season record. But it didn't matter to the 73-win Golden State Warriors in 2016 when the Cavaliers beat them, did it? Did it matter to the Toronto Raptors, who had the best regular season record in the Eastern Conference, only to be swept by the GOAT and the Cleveland Cavaliers? No, it didn't matter. Oh, the Cavs haven't been able to beat the Celtics on the road yet. Yet. No, we haven't yet. That doesn't mean we can't. If we can go into Golden State, if we can go into Oracle and take them down in Game 7, yeah, we can take them down in Boston. especially without Gordon Hayward and Kyrie Irving. Stop it. Don't even clown around with me here. You know this is the Cavs series to lose. Yes, I know. I know the Celtics win at home. I know that they're young, they're upstart, they're so well coached. I'd trade any player in the league just to get Brad Stevens to coach me. Uh-huh. Well, let's see if you can do this for 15 years in a row. Because that's what you have in LeBron James. You've got the greatest of all time. Don't even argue Michael Jordan or anybody else. And can we just agree we've narrowed the greatest of all time down to 2 players, Michael Jordan and LeBron James? Because it's not really Bill Russell. It's not Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. It's not Magic Johnson or Shaquille O'Neal or Vince Carter. I mean, go down the list of great players. We've really narrowed this down to 2 players. It's Michael Jordan and LeBron James, right? So the knock on LeBron is he's been to more finals and lost them, while Jordan is undefeated. Then the knock on Jordan is that, well, you got kicked out of the league for 2 years for gambling, or you just want to go play baseball. Okay, whichever. But then the other knock on Jordan is that, okay, well, you lost in the first round multiple times. LeBron James has never lost a first-round appearance in the playoffs. I get that. I don't think anybody's put together a span of consistent 15 years like LeBron James in the history of the game. The stats are bearing that out. I think LeBron is going to play till he's 50. I think he's going to play with this kid. And I think it's going to be glorious. And I think he's going to play for the Cavs. They're going to pull a Bernie Kosar, where he's going to go into the supplemental draft. He's not going to get picked, and then the Cavs are going to get him somehow. I have to hold on to faith that Bronny is going to play with the Cavs. So anyway, back to some of the questions here. Damon saying he agrees. Tristan Thompson is easy to get in foul trouble. Maybe. We have fouls to give with Tristan. Use them. Let the other team know that you're there. If you let some of these guys that like to slash and dash and cut through the defense and go up for layups and slam dunks, if you let them know that that's not going to be easy, they're going to think about it a second time and a third time and a fourth time and a fifth time. I'm okay with a couple of fouls. When I played baseball, one of my buddies, Mike, one of my best friends on this planet, I had the extreme honor of being asked to be his best man in his wedding. However, I leave a little to be desired with my wedding speeches. I should have taken some classes on this. 2 of them, I'd give myself a C at best. But I kind of told the story about Mike when we played baseball. He was a year older than me, and we played in different leagues. At some point, we reached the stage where we shared a field together, and I got a chance to bat against him. It was the first time. And listen, this guy was in my backyard. In my backyard, we had a rectangle. We had woods out in the back, and we had like a baseball diamond back here. We had bases in between, and then we had like a football field. So we played baseball and football. I played sports with this guy, baseball, football, tennis, basketball, year after year, all the time. Like this guy lived across the street from me. I spent so much time with him. When he pitched, he had, I believe he had multiple no-hitters. He at least had 1 no-hitter against the Orioles. And I think he had multiple no-hitters. I'd have to double check on that. But what I said during his, during the best man speech about him, and what we've talked about many times, is that he was effectively wild. He was a big dude, and he threw really hard. And he would occasionally bean you with it. Catch you in the collarbone, catch you in the rib cage, catch you in the shoulder, catch you in the forearm, catch you in the leg, catch you in the foot. And if he did this a couple of times, he would freak the batters out enough so they'd be swinging and stepping out at the same time. And if you can't maintain your position in the batter's box, the pitcher has an advantage. And Murray, because he was effectively wild, he had the advantage. So my point is, if Tristan's going to get in foul trouble, we got a few big guys. Put them in and play them. If you want to waste some fouls and keep Tristan out of... Play Zizic a couple of minutes. Play a couple of these guys a couple of minutes. Let them get some fouls. Let them put some hard hits on some of these other players. Remind him that you're playing against the GOAT. Remind him that you're playing against a 2016 NBA champion. Remind him that you're playing against a 3-time NBA champion. Remind him that you're playing against an NBA juggernaut. Remind him that you're not going to get away with cheap, easy buckets on this team. I got no problem with that. I think that's going to make... I think if you did that a little bit more early in the game... Sorry, it's a new hat. I'm trying to get the balance of this thing right. I still don't think I have it. But if you put the pressure on this Celtics team, you're going to have a lot less of this driving to the lane and tossing up these easy shots. Because let's face it, they got to the rim pretty easy on quite a few plays. Quite a few plays. It just makes you wish for the days of Timofey Mozgov back there. But Tristan can do it. Kevin Love can do it. Larry Nance can do it. Jeff Green can do it. They can block shots. LeBron can do it. So, we might not need what we think we do. But I'm okay with getting a little bit of foul trouble. I'm okay with that, Damian. Same with JR. Yeah, I don't know about JR. JR has been kind of rendered a little ineffective. I feel like some of his minutes, I'd have to go back and watch his defensive sets. What's the plus minus on the player that J.R. Smith versus Kyle Korver, who they're guarding? What are they doing for those minutes specifically, and compare them? My eye test is telling me that J.R. Smith isn't giving us all that much, but my gut is telling me that he might be doing pretty good on defense. And if that's the case, I'll eat my words. But Kyle Korver is a guy that can give you north of 15 points easy. You just got to put him in the right situations and toss him the rock. What are my thoughts on that, Damian? Look, for as much grief as we give Tyronn Lue, he's an NBA champion. In fact, as a Cleveland sports fan, he's the only head coach that's ever brought you a championship if you were born after 1952. So, if you want to say LeBron was the head coach in that there's no respect needed for Tyronn Lue, if that's really what you're going to say, then I can't argue with it. I'm just going to say that you're wrong. Tyronn Lue completely overhauled the roster, got rid of Derrick Rose, got rid of Dwayne Wade, got rid of Iman Shumpert, got rid of Isaiah Thomas, brought in Jordan Clarkson, brought in George Hill, brought in Larry Nance Jr., Rodney Hood, picked up a draft pick, shipped Kyrie out. Kevin Love's been injured a few times. We're rocking a new lineup almost every time we play. So let's just cut Tyronn Lue a little bit of slack. You want to replace him in the offseason? Fine. Do your thing. But in the middle of this run, just recognize he got us to the playoffs, 3 straight NBA finals in a row, brought us home a championship, and he's still getting to know his players. Hi, my name's Tyronn. I'm your head coach. What's your name, sir? Oh, you're Rodney Hood? You mean that guy that wouldn't go into the game the other day? Okay. All right. Hope we can work this out. He's going on the fly. And you got to give a little bit of credit to him. Damien's asking, do you think Eric Gordon would have been what the Cavs needed? Maybe, maybe not. Maybe the Cavs have everything that we need. How about that? I don't know. When LeBron gets a hold of a franchise and he gets to play general manager, he spends a lot of money. Remember Wally Zerbiak and Ben Wallace and Larry Hughes? I get it. You go out and you get the best that you can, but sometimes doing that isn't the best idea. So, Eric Gordon, what would it have taken to get Eric Gordon? How would he have fit in with the team? Short answer, Damien, I don't know. If you remember, when I go live next time with Zach, I'll try to ask him. If I forget, type it in there and I'll try to ask Zach that one. Brian is saying ready for Game 7 LBJ mode. Yes, 0 dark 30. How do I do this? 30. Or is it backwards? I'm trying to remember how you guys see it out there. Wasn't it LeBron? Haven't several players said there's no two greater words in sports than Game 7? It's all on the line. One game. Literally win or go home. I mean, I obviously kind of wish that was at home. But just call the game right. These refs have been pretty out there. The referees have left a lot to be desired. So, I mean, if the referees are going to call these games fairly, I really do. Maybe I'm just being a homer. But I really feel like the referees are steering this series. And I don't think it's for the benefit of the Cavs or for the benefit of the game of basketball as it's intended to be played either. So we'll see. We'll see in Game 7. Damian saying, so if Coach Stevens is brilliant, what does that make Lou on Sunday? I don't know. Take a picture of him looking stupid. By the way, remember Tyronn Lue left this team for health reasons. I believe he had a heart condition or has a heart condition. And he left this team because it's like, geez, Kyrie couldn't handle it. The coach can't handle it. It's LeBron James or the highway, and he's good enough to command it. But, man, that's a lot to absorb. Tyronn Lue left this team for a little bit. Remember Larry Drew stepped in? So this is a team with zero continuity. And we're still finding ways to win and force a Game 7. It's down to one game. Win and you're in. It's not the worst. It's not the worst. Damian saying I'm right, but in the terms of making a presence felt, Nance is more of a threat. Nance is dunking it more often. Look, I like Larry Nance. I wish he would get more minutes. I want to see Larry Nance play more in this game. Game 7. In this series specifically. Get out there and hustle it. Rotate it through. Clear Love through the concussion protocol and give him limited minutes. Work him back in. Well, we're going to need Kevin Love for the Warriors or the Rockets. Come on, I can't even get excited about the Warriors and Rockets because we're still in a winner-go-home mode. We got to win a game. Game 7, one game for all the marbles on their home court. So anyway, Damian asking about Coach Lue because Stevens is being anointed as a genius. Yeah. Well, and I saw a meme yesterday, the day before, Instagram.com/TheNewAmerican, or in the Unhappy Hour Sports Show, a support group. Somebody posted, and I wish I could remember who you were because this is a great one. It says something along the lines of when Steph Curry wins, Steph is unbeatable. The best player to ever play the game. When Steph Curry and the Warriors lose, Steph clearly wasn't healthy. Is that what it is? Is that really the way that this shakes out? I think certain players get passes, and I think certain other players get looked over, coddled. I think LeBron James gets hit in the head about 15 times per game that should be called for penalty shots. And they're just not. So I don't know, figure it out. Don't you want your best players to shine? Call the fouls that are happening. Damian saying Lou is coaching his ass off and should get more credit. I'm going to like that comment. I agree. I just said that. I agree. He's still meeting his team, doing the best that he can. Cut him some slack. Brian Naftsker is saying, if you've been sipping wine... Oh, jeez. Brian, what are you sipping on? I got to try to read this. If you've been sipping wine, TN, leave the gin alone on Sunday, just like George Hill is finding Chipotle barbacoa in Boston. Brian, you had me, then you lost me. But Chipotle barbacoa sounds pretty good. That sounds really good. A little bit of wine, even better. Damien saying he suffers from major anxiety. Damien, are you talking about Coach Lou or are you talking about Kevin Love? Obviously, I know that Kevin Love discussed mental health, and that was a really good thing. Coach Lou, I think he had anxiety too. You try coaching LeBron James. He's the coach on the floor. You all know it. Keep drinking that wine, son. This ain't wine. This is a Cleveland Browns glass. Remember, this show is called The Unhappy Hour. All right? We're allowed to watch sports and have a good time. I am not endorsed by anybody. However, this is some pretty tasty stuff. Just had a couple of ice cubes, just a little sip. Kept it small. Look, just a little sippy sip. But it ain't wine, son. Thanks, Brian. Anyway. Okay, Tyronn Lue suffers from major anxiety. Well, it makes me wonder, Damien. That's a good point. If Coach Lue suffers from anxiety, which came first, the chicken or the egg? How long has Kevin Love been suffering from anxiety? They say with kids and their teachers and their principals that, depending on how they handle situations, that's how the kids are going to handle situations. So if you're using baby gloves, if you're using, bubble wrap with everything, then the kids are going to come out super fragile. You can't handle people with bubble wrap because the world doesn't give a damn with what your utopia thinks it should be. The world cares about the way things are. So if Coach Lue is suffering from anxiety, obviously we know about his heart issues and whatnot. But it makes me think. Are the two connected in any way? Kevin Love and Tyronn Lue and getting injured and missing games, missing crucial moments. It makes me wonder. That's a really good question. I appreciate that. All right, and then we're going to wrap this up here with the Rockets up 3 games to, what are we at, 3 games to 2? Yeah, and then Game 6 is tomorrow. Houston can close it out. Who do you have? Houston, Golden State. Man. It's a mighty fine question. Chris Paul getting injured is a big deal. There's a lot of talented players on that Golden State team. And I'm not certain that Golden State is going to fall to a Rockets team without Chris Paul. I believe they've already ruled Chris Paul out for the game. I believe I read that. I could be wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong. But my understanding is that Chris Paul is already a goner for Game 6. That's a big blow. That's a big difference. Now, when you bring in Chris Paul, are you hoping that his leadership skills are going to get you over the hump? Are you counting on him to play big-time minutes in big-time games and make big-time plays? Or could some of the other players step up? The Rockets team is a deep team, and it's still led by an MVP candidate who should come in second or third, not first, James Harden. LeBron James should get the MVP. Who do I have? I'm going to say I got Houston. And it's going to be a Cavaliers-Houston finals. But look, it's 3-2. Are we going to tie that up at 3-3 as well? And it comes down to 1-1? I don't know. Maybe. But it's good to be sitting in a 3-2 position. Because you got 2 shots. You got 2 shots to make it. Brian is saying he's out. Yeah, I thought he was out. Chris Paul's out. CP3's out. Brian in the chat room is asking, how is Boston going to handle the pressure of a Game 7 with all these young players who've never been there? It's interesting you bring that up, Brian, because I was thinking about this earlier today. Well, a few different things. Number one, perhaps less significant, I really do think a wormhole opened up in 2016, centered around Cleveland, Ohio, centered around specifically Quicken Loans Arena. You had the Cavaliers defeating the Golden State Warriors to defeat the number 73 win team of all time. You had Donald Trump beating Hillary Clinton. You want to talk about upsets, right? I think LeBron James is part of some sort of parallel dimension, multiverse project to build the world as they see it and to create the world as it could be. I feel like, now here's where specifically, this is the point I was getting to. I feel as though the Cleveland Indians were supposed to win that World Series. And I feel like if Corey Kluber would not have gotten that win in the All-Star game that he did that season, I think it was in San Diego, then Game 7 would have been held in Chicago. And I think if Game 7 was held in Chicago, I think they would have choked it away. Remember, they bought so many of those tickets up at enormous prices, and they turned it into a home game. I feel like if all the Chicago people were there for Game 7, I feel like the negative energy around that team and around that game would have been so thick you could cut it with a butter knife. That's what I think. So, was it the Cleveland players choking, or was it adding the successful other team? And that's kind of what I'm wondering. I feel like the Cubs were supposed to lose Game 7 at home. Instead, the Indians got Game 7 at home, and we lost. We gave away home field advantage because too many of the fans sold the tickets. We gave away home field advantage because we were the ones tense at home, and it allowed them to play loose. We gave away the Game 7 World Series advantage, honestly, because God pissed on us. Started a rainstorm right at the most important point. It gave everybody enough time to calm down. And I just wanted to keep playing the game. If you're going to play the game, play the game. If you're not, then don't. So it was rough for me. It was rough for me because I really do think that Cleveland Indians team was supposed to be the world champion. Now, I can't control all the circumstances in the world. I can't control a lot of this. But what I can control is thinking about what home field advantage means, what home court advantage means, what it means to have the greatest player of all time on your team, what it means to have the role players, what it means to have the coaching that we do. And look, I like our odds. We're 5 games away from a championship. 5 games away from a championship. This may prove to be prophetic. This may prove to be disappointing in time. Or this may prove to be amazing. This may prove to be a moment I'm going to look back on and say, good job. You rode with the GOAT, the greatest of all time. Ride or die with LeBron James. So maybe that's the case. Damien is saying, Brian, excellent question. What question were you referencing here? Need love to win a championship, no doubt. I don't see another. So how's Boston going to handle Game 7? We don't know until we find out. But I like our chances. All right, Damien is saying that CP3 is going to be reevaluated. Kudos to you. Damien is saying, Brian, excellent question. I think you meant the other Brian, but I don't know what question you meant. Bruh, that bullet is hitting you hard. You sound like Elroy Jetson. Ah! No, it's all good. Look, man, I'm just chilling. I'm talking about the Cavs. Like, this was a nerve-wracking game for me. This was a nerve-wracking game. It was hard to watch. You know, all the talk in the media being this could be LeBron James' last game in Cleveland. Like, I don't want to hear that. I don't have it in me to go through this again. Don't do this again. Don't leave. Build your empire here. If you're the king, build the empire in Cleveland, the 216. That's what I'm saying. Hitting me like Elroy Jetson. Thanks, Damien. Yeah, and I'm calling it bullet, but I know that's not how you pronounce it. Bullet. It's French. Fragile. Ooh, sounds important. That bullet's hitting your heart. That's a funny quote. I like that. About the youth. oh, the question about the youth. Okay. Oh, okay. There, because you saw Bryan, but that was Brian. We got a lot of Bryans in here. We got Brian Naftsker, we got Brian Burke, and then we got Brian Engelman. So when you said Bryan, anyway, I just had to double check that. Okay, so you're saying that was an excellent question from Brian Naftsker about how it's going to hit the Boston Celtics being such a young team in Game 7. You can't coach experience. You can't coach nerves. J.R. Smith might not be playing well right now, but he could put in 22 tomorrow. You know he could. Same with Korver. Tristan could give you 12 and 12. K. Love could be back. Nance could give you 15 and 15. And I think you need to run some coordinated plays, specific plays for Jordan Clarkson. Anyway, guys, final thought, Damien saying his buddy said the exact same thing about LeBron staying. What is that thing? That if you're the king, have your players come stay with you? You don't have it in you to leave again? I said that from the beginning that, look, if you're the king, you gotta have. If you're the king, you gotta have LeBron in Cleveland. Sorry, I'm trying to Christopher Walken. I hadn't. But what did Damien? What did your buddy say about LeBron staying? What I'm saying about it is, if you're the king, get your boys to come play with you over here. Get them to sign a 1-year deal for little money. Come on out and compete for a title, then go make more money elsewhere. Just come get the chip. This is where you get the chip. You know LeBron's going to be a badass. He's in year 15 hitting 46 points, damn near triple-double. 12 rebounds, 9 assists, something like that. Damien saying, I think Boston. Okay, there you go. You think Boston will collapse. Korver will play like a man possessed for his bro. Yeah, man, I read that article on ESPN about Kyle Korver losing his brother. Really sudden, really unexpected, really tough. And it makes you think about, what is the point of life? What are we doing here? What is this? I had this conversation with a buddy of mine. Yes, I think he should stay too, Damien. Absolutely. But I had this conversation with a buddy of mine. We're working to rebuild the New American Media. We have a game plan to turn this into the world's largest media company by 2022. And we're having a conversation about what is the world, what is this experience, what is life, what is the point of this? And it's a tricky question. I recommended a book, and I'm going to recommend it to each and every one of you guys. I hope you just spend $12 and ship it through Amazon Prime right now. I don't make a dime off it. I don't care. It's just a great book. It's called Some, S-U-M, Some, 40 Tales from the Afterlives. Some, 40 Tales from the Afterlives. And in this book is a cognitive neuroscience. His name is Jonathan Engelman. Not Engelman, like myself. Jonathan Engelman. Cognitive neuroscience. He's a brilliant writer. He's witty. He's clever. At the end of every chapter, it's 40 tales, so every chapter is between 2 and 7 pages long. At the end of almost every chapter, it has you laughing or thinking or reevaluating what you thought life was. It's a brilliant book. Order it. Some, 40 Tales from the Afterlives. It's a great toilet reading book. I mean, like, it's great in 5-minute doses is what I'm getting at. But you know, when you hear about Kyle Korver losing his brother the way that he did, when you hear about bad things happening to good people, and you could go down the line with this stuff, right? We're not playing an oppression Olympics. We all go through bullshit. We all go through tough times, hands down. And what Kyle Korver went through was really tough with his brother. But I had the conversation tonight just trying to figure out, hopefully not too much like Elroy Jetson, whatever that means. You got to do a side-by-side, Damien. Shoot me a message on that one. It was pretty funny. But what is this? Is this a simulated experience? Is this the Matrix? Is this a video game? Is this virtual reality? What are we doing here? What is the game plan? Does it matter if we try to leave a legacy that's greater than ourselves? Or, you know, we get 65 years and we better get as much as we can. To hell with everything else. I don't know. I mean, I know how I was raised. I know despite the flaws that almost every religion has, I think that my religion gave me a decent moral compass to try to be a decent human being. But what is the point? You know, you're shooting a ball through a hoop, and your bro's dying for no apparent reason. This stuff happens. It happens. And as for me and myself, I'm going to continue to try to believe that there is a point to this world. You know, and if you've noticed anything about me, I've done this shit for 7 years, and I've really kind of gotten away from politics a little bit. I'm tired of it. I'm tired of it being used as a battering ram to divide us. The set of Ginsu knives to slice and dice the American population. I'm kind of tired of it. And I've been really digging the sports. I think there's a lot of life lessons in sports. I think watch it, like Carl Fern, our admin in the Unhappy Hour Sports Showway support group. Like Carl Fern said, he said, this is like my dad or my grandfather, I think it was his grandfather, telling me about what it was like watching Jim Brown in his prime. It's epic. It's glorious. Enjoy it. You don't know how long you have it. And tonight, I didn't know if I had it past this game. We get one more chance. We have one more chance. By the way, I got this super cool hat. I freaking love it. It's got camouflage here. It's all black and white. It's the Cavaliers. Whoop, where's that? There we go. There we go. It's the Cavs logo. I freaking love this thing. It's so cool. But I'm going to ride or die with this team, with this player. I'm so happy that he's on our team. It was so tough watching Jordan on the Bulls, destroying the Cavaliers for year after year. And it's so nice to see this guy knocking in damn near a triple-double, 46 points. Kind of blowing the Celtics out of the water. I know they kind of kept it close to 16 points. Could have went to 20, but it came down to 9 instead, and it was way too close. But we took care of business. We got it done. All that matters is the W. I'm loving this, man. I'm freaking loving this. And I really hope we get a chance to get to the finals and win the finals. Obviously, step one is we got to get there. And who knows who we're playing? The Rockets are up 3-2 on the Golden State Warriors, but the Rockets now have an injured CP3. How significant is that going to be? We're going to find out, right? How much of a badass is James Harden? Is the NBA going to actually give him the MVP over LeBron James again? Come on. LeBron could have had 12 MVPs at this point. What does he have, 3? Stop it. 4? Whatever the number is. Anyway, wrapping up the comments here. Damien saying, yes, he should stay. Thinks Boston will collapse. Corver will play like a man possessed. Yes. Brian is saying he just poured a bullet. I used bourbon sphere cubes. About to Amazon you some. Yo! Amazon me some! And by the way, Brian, we're putting together. We're doing a line of merchandise. We're gonna be doing shakers and strainers and shot glasses and pint glasses and tumblers, rocks glasses, all that stuff with the Unhappy Hour stuff on it. You send me some of those ice cubes, and we'll figure out what to do with some of these other ones for you. We got hats, we got t-shirts, we got tank tops, we got thongs, we got all this stuff coming for the Unhappy Hour. What's up, David? Welcome to the party. David, I think you might have missed some of this, man. We're going to replay this. I'm going to post this after the fact. I'll put it on YouTube. Subscribe on the YouTube channel. But I've been on for about an hour. It's been a long night. Damian saying I'm looking like George Jetson or some shit. I don't know what he's even talking about. So you got to do a side-by-side and tell me where I'm at. I know it wasn't George Jetson. You said Elroy Jetson. What about the dog? I know that's... I know we're talking Scooby-Doo now, and it's been a long night. What can I say? Anyway, Brian saying cheers from the OH brother. I-O. Whoop, hold on. Hold on, how do I show this? It's got a glare. How do I? Cleveland Browns. I-O. No, I'm not sipping Chardonnay yet. Cheers from the OH brother. We're all spoiled by greatness, says Brian, and we take it for granted and should be thankful for the ride the King gave us. Look, man, let's not put this all in past tense just yet. This isn't over. This isn't a done deal. We're not saying goodbye. If we can put our faith and ride and die with this team being down 1-3 against the 73-win Warriors, we can beat a depleted, super young Boston Celtics team, okay? We can easily take them out. And if we can just assert our dominance in the first quarter, into the second quarter, it's a done deal. That's how the series has turned out. If you can get it done by the second quarter, it's game over. There's no undoing what's been done. You scramble the eggs, they're scrambled. So I think we got a good chance. We're all spoiled by greatness. We take it for granted. We should be thankful for the ride the King gave us. Damien, will you have a show about the NFL ruling? What do you guys love? You're saying you love it and LOL. I don't even know what we're talking about. What rant? What did you like there? I don't even know what I'm saying. Apparently I'm Elroy Jetson. Or I'm somebody from Green Acres or somebody. Who knows? See, it's so weird. It goes from 2 people watching to 6 people watching. I'm seeing half of your comments. I'm sorry, guys, if I'm missing some of your stuff. But Facebook messes with me. Damien asking, will I have a show about the NFL ruling? Okay, really quick. Damien, did the NFL rule on anything? I thought they leaked something that may or may not be true. And then there's some sort of a public backlash against what the NFL said. So based on their, what was that, Frank Luntz on Fox, he used to do the, what the heck is it? What's the phrase I'm looking for? He would test the room with 50 people, thumbs up, thumbs down. What do you think? Why did you like this message? What is the word for Frank Luntz? I know I could look it up, but I just don't feel like it. Anyway, my understanding with the NFL ruling is that they didn't make a determination. They put something out there to see what the public thought about it, and some people are saying they don't like it. If you're talking about taking a knee during the national anthem, yeah, look, and I'm sorry, I'm getting back on track. I know there's probably there's probably 5 to 10 stories a day that I want to do shows on, and I just don't normally have the time to do it. I just don't normally put it together. Because then I have to edit, I got to post, I got to add all the text. If any of you guys are great at that stuff and want to jump in, raise your hand, send me a text message, let me know. Because that's my least favorite stuff. But my understanding with the NFL is that they didn't make a determination. They just said, we're thinking about doing this. And what they're thinking about doing is finding a team or penalizing a team if you have a player that takes a knee while the anthem's going on. Okay. My reaction to that is awesome. So you're basically ensuring that both teams are going to do this and get offsetting penalties. Remember, this whole kneeling thing was just about done until Donald Trump came out and said, what did he say? Tell those sons of bitches to respect the flag or whatever he said. And then everybody came out the next, oh, we gotta prove Donald Trump wrong. We're all gonna kneel now. I'm like, you were down to like 4 people taking a knee during the anthem. Now you're up to 400 because the president said something. I don't really want season 3 of Anthem Gate. I just want to watch some football. I'm excited about what the Cleveland Browns have done. I'm excited about the moves the Cleveland Browns have made. Tyrod Taylor, Jarvis Landry, Josh Gordon coming back, Carlos Hyde, Nick Chubb, Duke Johnson, David Njoku. You know, drafting an offensive line, was that Corbett is his name from Nevada? I'm excited about the Cleveland Browns offense. I'm excited about Myles Garrett coming back in season 2. I'm excited about a lot of players on defense coming back. And adding a badass in the defensive backfield from The Ohio State University. So that Greg Williams can make him play. I just want to watch football. If there's any player that wants to get involved in some sort of social justice campaign, if any players want to work in their local communities to get people to become more responsible so that they stay out of trouble, so that they make something out of their lives, I support that 100%. I just want to watch football when it's football, though. I just want to cheer on my team. You know, and you know, I'll tell you this, and I got to wrap this up at some point here, but I went to visit my brother. And I was down in Columbus, and I forget what it was. He was working, and I had some time, whatever it was. And so I went to this local sports bar, this pub, this restaurant, and I watched the game. Whatever was on, whatever year it was several years ago. And it was the national anthem. I think the Browns had played in the early game and lost. And this was the second game of the day. And something about the way that the vocalists performed the national anthem, the Star Spangled Banner, and thinking about 9/11 and thinking about my family members who served, and thinking about the pain and the trauma that our country went through on September 11th, 2001. And thinking about when I went to Ground Zero a couple months later and I met people that worked there and got their stories. And thinking about how the world has changed since then. And thinking about civil liberties and thinking about the police state and George Orwell and all the warnings we had and false flags and just thinking about all the things and trying to make sense of it all. Because there's a lot to take in. And when you don't believe everything, it's tough because you almost believe nothing. You know, so if you know me, you might think, or if you're vaguely familiar with me, or if you know some of the stuff I've done over the past 7 years, you might think I'm some sort of conspiracy theorist. You might think that I'm some sort of a nut job, some sort of a gullible fool who believes all sorts of wacky stuff. And it's kind of the opposite. You know, when I was 18, I was convinced I knew everything. And then when I doubled that age, I was pretty convinced I didn't know much of anything. So maybe right now I don't know a lot. I don't know a lot of stuff. But what I do know is that 9/11 hit me hard. And I went down to Manhattan to meet the people down there and spent a few days. And I had an amazing experience talking to all sorts of people from all different walks of life who told me their experience when it happened. And cut to several years later, I was watching the game in Columbus at my brother's local place. And it hit me. It hit me hard. I was just sitting there at the bar, and something about the way they sang the national anthem, and I got to thinking about so many things. And look, to me, that moment's personal. To me, that moment's about my family members who have served. To me, that moment is about what we've been through as a nation. To me, this moment is about all the potential abuses of what could happen with governments and genocides and world wars and lies and propaganda. To me, that moment was about so much more. And I'm kind of reminded, and I remember about a quote from Eddie Vedder from Pearl Jam. And I'll paraphrase this, and hopefully I don't butcher it too much, but the quote was along the lines of, "What did this song mean to you when you wrote it?" And he said, "Look, I've been touring for a really long time. I've recorded album after album after album after album." He goes, "I don't answer that question. When I wrote that song meant something to me. But once I released it, that song is allowed to mean many different things to many different people." So I'm not even going to talk about what that meant to me, because different people have taken that story and taken it in their own direction since. And once again, Eddie Vedder and Pearl Jam, that's another band who I could kind of do without some of their politics, but I love some of their creative works. And it's a grab bag, it's a mixed bag, and that's fine. But I love that quote. That quote has always stuck with me. Once again, I apologize for perhaps completely butchering it. But my point is this. Don't even tell me that the military pays money to fly their jets over the football stadiums, and that they pay their money to bring out and unfurl an enormous American flag with the red, white, and blue and the 50 stars and stripes. Apparently not Flint, Michigan, or Puerto Rico, though, because we're not really fixing stuff over there. I digress. But when that moment happens, when it's national anthem time, please rise and remove your ball caps, and we're gonna do our thing. Oh, see, and you go through the go through the spiel. That moment can sometimes make me reflect. Now I'm trying to remember which teams were playing. Maybe the Cincinnati Bengals and the New York Jets, perhaps. I'm trying to remember, because I wasn't paying attention to the teams that were playing. My team had already lost. It was the Browns, and we usually lose. But I remember being at the bar, and I'm at a crowded bar. I had lunch or breakfast or whatever I had, and had a couple beverages, and feeling like Elroy Jetson, and please tell me what that means. I don't know what that means. And I'm sitting there, and this is happening, and it's on the anniversary of 9/11, and September 11th. This was game 1 or 2. It usually happens right at the beginning of the season, and it hit me. It hit me like imagine taking like a bunch of doorknobs and throwing them into a sack. It's a Simpsons joke. Heavy sack beatings are up a whopping 300%, or something like that. Imagine putting a bunch of doorknobs into a pillowcase, twisting that thing up, and smacking. I mean, it caught me good. And where I was at that moment, the experiences that I had, the things I was reliving, it was tough. It was really tough. And it hurt a lot. And I had to reflect on all of those things I've just been talking to you about for 10, 15 minutes now. my family in the service, my time covering what I've covered in the media, my time going to Manhattan and meeting the shoe shiners that were telling me, you see that up there? And I said, no. He goes, exactly. That's where the tower used to be. He goes, this is my office. I've worked here for 23 years, whatever the story number was. I've worked here for 23 years, and every day I'd show up on this street corner ready to shine some shoes, and right there in between those two was the twin and I saw the second one hit after I saw the first one hit, and I ran up that street, and I ran as fast as I could. And I'm meeting these people, and I'm getting these stories, and, that's the type of stuff I'm thinking about during the national anthem. Colin Kaepernick, keep your shit to yourself, man. I get that you got an agenda. I get that you got things that you're unhappy about. And I want you to be out in your community talking about it. But don't mess up that moment for me. That moment is for me to think about. That moment is for me to ponder and consider. That moment is for me to remember my family members who served in the military. That moment is for me to reflect on what this all means. Don't hijack that from me. Don't take that from me. Don't turn this into something different. Do your thing. Do it out in the community. Don't do it on my football field. I do not want season 3 of the anthem. I'm sorry. I have no interest in it. I just want to watch sports. I just want to watch some football. I want to root for some fantasy football players. Is my running back going to get a touchdown today? Oh, I hope my receiver gets 11 receptions. Oh, look at that. Their tight end, blah, blah, blah. Like, that's what I want to do. That time is a moment for me to reflect. Don't hijack this movement. Don't hijack that moment. And don't be pushing that same line that MSNBC and the Obama administration pushed over and over and over again. I don't want to believe that everybody is a pathetic victim. I want to believe that most people believe in truth and justice, and if we find really bad stuff going on, we're going to be able to talk about it, identify it, isolate it, contain it, and remedy it. I just don't see our country as being a miserable place. I see it as being perhaps the best place on this planet, with a whole lot of problems. But if you want to go to Rwanda, if you want to go to Great Britain, if you want to go to Australia, if you want to go to South Africa, if you want to go to Canada, go for it. But here in America, cut me a break. Cut me some slack. Get out of here with this stuff. Enough already. You're a 30-year-old running quarterback who takes a knee on the field. Remember how Tim Tebow was treated? Pretty shitty. Because he's a Christian, which makes him evil or something. Tim Tebow, perhaps one of the nicest guys you'd ever meet. No problems off the field. Lambasted for taking a knee as a running 30-year-old quarterback, just like Kaepernick. But all of a sudden, now this has to be this enormous social issue. I'm not buying it. I didn't buy it from the beginning. I'm not buying it now. He's had job offers. He's turned them down. He turned down the Ravens. He's turned down other jobs because he wanted multi-year deals and he wanted... Why did you opt out of, what was it, 30 million or 60 million or 80 million? Forgive me, I got to double check exactly what was on the table. Maybe at that point it was only down to a 1 or 2 year with the 49ers, but he opted out of that stuff. And my condolences to Damien, who says he lost a military friend that day. And I'm going to like that comment, although I'd give it a sad face if I could, but I just don't know how to do that here. But I think we all lost somebody that day. I think on 9/11, I think we all lost something. I think we all lost a little bit of our innocence, a little bit of our naivete burned away. It's a pretty good line. I'm going to write that down. Our naivete. How do I spell that? Burned away. But that's something that our nation has to grieve. That's something that our nation has to go through. And I think police abuse is not a black and white thing. I think it's an abuse thing. And I think that should universally be opposed. But you're going to show me that Milwaukee Bucks guy. Well, like, what are you doing with your hands in your pockets? Why are you being combative? Like, work your way through a bad situation and sort it out after. Don't make it worse. Granted, I haven't watched the video, but my understanding is that he was. I read the report, and I got to go back and watch it. But I don't believe this country is a horrible place. I think this country is the best place on the planet. And I think we have a bunch of room to grow and improve. I just don't want to see season 3 of Anthem Gate. I just want to watch some football. The Browns are going to be good. The Browns are going to go at least 10-6 and be in the wild card playoffs this year. The Browns are making the playoffs at 10-6 at least. Mark my words. Jot it down. Take a screenshot. Throw this in my face if we go 0-16 again, because it ain't going to happen. If Deshaun Kaiser had any sort of skill, he would have won at least 3 or 4 games last year. Get someone a little bit better and a couple other playmakers, you could double that to 8. Add a few more playmakers on defense, add a few more playmakers on offense, I think you get to 10 wins. I really do. I don't think we're far off. And basically, the short answer of it is I just want to watch some football this year. I don't want to get wrapped up in the nonsense. I don't want season 3 of Anthem Gate. What's up, Greg? Greg, when are we doing your show? We gotta get you your show on this network, son. I can't invite you. I thought you were an admin. I should be able to invite you. But look, man, I've been doing this show for about an hour and a half now. I'm going to post this after the fact. If you missed the beginning, you'll see it soon. Subscribe, youtube.com/TheNewAmericanMedia. Go Cavs. Great game from LeBron James. Damn near a triple-double with 46 points in 46 minutes. Good job to Jeff Green. Good job to Tristan Thompson. Good job to Larry Nance. Sure hoping Kevin Love is going to be healthy to come back for Game 7. However, I really do think that the odds are forever in our favor for Game 7. I don't think that the Celtics know what they're in for. I think the pressure is going to get to them, and a lot of these shots that they've been shooting with confidence are going to tense up. They're going to tighten up, and I don't see JR staying in a slump for long. I think Korver can step up and give you at least 15 again. And that being the case, I'm calling it for Cavs in 7. Who do I think they're going to play in the Western Conference? Oh, jeez. What I want to see is for the Rockets to win this game. What I think is going to happen? Oh, thanks, Brian. I got the cheers with the. Is that Cleveland skyline? Oh no, that's a Twin Tower skyline. There we go. No, I recognize that anywhere. I'm going to give you a thumbs up and a cheers. Thanks, Brian. Anyway, look, I digress. Back to Damian. Look, I'm sorry you lost a friend on that day. I had so many members of my family that were serving overseas and doing their thing, and I talked to my brother. As much as I could, I tried to talk my brother out of serving in the military. I said, don't be a pawn in somebody else's game of chess. Don't do it, man. And I don't know if that was good advice or bad advice. I just know it was what I felt in my heart, and I didn't want to see him as a white cross in the middle of a nameless field. I didn't want to see it, and I just want to have that time and those moments to be sacred. I don't want to be turning this into the moment that everybody needs to grab onto pet issues and whether they're legitimate or accurate or not. I think rational people can be against oppression and violence and still disagree with what Kaepernick's doing and how he's doing it. I don't want season 3 of this game show. I don't want it. I really don't. Yeah, never forget, man. Look, dude, I went down to Manhattan and I was there for a couple of days with my my significant other, and it was a trip. It was a trip. I'll never forget it. I'm so glad I did it. It didn't feel real. it felt like a Die Hard movie, so I had to go and see it for myself. So I went and saw it, and it's pretty brutal. But it was also motivating. I feel like I saw New York in its best light ever. If you're asking for directions, and this is, remember, 2001, this is pre-iPhone. You know, smartphones were not a thing that you had in your pocket, so you kind of had to rely on people. And I felt like I got the best version of New York possible. I felt like I got the version of New York that Chris Rock has a joke, and I know this is where most this is where so many people go off track. No, don't quote Chris Rock. You can't pull this off. No, you can't do it. Maybe I won't. No, I'll do it, because this one's an easy one. This isn't a racial one. Because that's the thing. Chris Rock does so many good racial jokes. If you're a white dude and you try to pull it off, it's like, no bueno. But Chris Rock has a joke about when you're dating somebody, you're not meeting that person, especially in your first date, your first couple of dates. You're not meeting that person. You're meeting that person's representative. You're getting all of the best stuff that you could possibly get out of that person because that's their representative. That's not the person. So I felt like I got the best version of New Yorkers. I got helpful police. I got helpful firefighters. I got helpful residents. Kind, helpful people that were in the garden. Kind, helpful people, you know, at the restaurants, in the taxis. This is before Uber and Lyft. And I feel like I kind of got the best version of New York possible, and it was a little unfair. And part of me now doesn't ever want to go back because I want to keep that vision in my head. Where people were united, they weren't divided. People were together looking out for one another. They didn't give a shit about the skin color or the vagina or penis of the neighbor next door. They didn't care what flying spaghetti monster they worshiped. They didn't care if they were atheists. They just cared, look, if we're in a bunker together, if we're in this together, if we're neighbors in the same neighborhood together, and we notice something wrong happening, are you in this with us to help us fix this? Yes or no? And I got the distinct impression that the people of New York were ready to chip in, ready to sign up, ready to raise their hands, ready to fix this themselves. Because it's very insidious. It's very insidious to give directions, to give directives to a group and then not participate in the coaching and the helping of putting all of that stuff together. I think it takes a lot to make a society function. And I think we all need to chip in a little bit. We all need to, you know, if we're digging a hole, we all need to give a couple of shovel spoons full. Shovel spoons? We need to put a little bit of work in. That's all I'm saying. And so, you know, I was very happy with what I saw out of New York at that time. Never forget, of course. But I hope we can become savvy consumers of the military-industrial complex at the same time so that we're not suckered into all the pageantry of a football game and the Star-Spangled Banner and the military flyover and the signing and recruiting stations right outside the stadium. I just think that we can do better. Maybe we can. Maybe we can't. I don't know. But I'm going to try. Anyway, go Cavs. Game 7 coming up on Sunday at 5:30. Rockets, Warriors tomorrow. Rockets with a chance to close it out, up 3-2. We'll see how it goes. Signing out for everybody out there in Elroy Jetson's universe. I appreciate you. I love you, and we'll talk again soon. Take care.